Hi everybody. Today on Kids Craft Lab we are doing a project called String Thing, and I've got a bunch of different kinds of string and yarn to work with, and we are going to need a lot of, I just have different variety. I have lots of colors of yarn. This is what you're going to need, or any kind of string like kite string or string you tie a package with, anything like that. And I've got some thick yarn as well, and I've got some weird yarn that's kind of brushy like that. So anything that you've had around your house that you've got some extra and you want to experiment and see what it looks like in a great art project, this is String Thing. Another thing you're going to need is some kind of foam block. You could have a foam block that you got from some package that got sent to you, or even if you had a meat tray like this, that works as well. This had chicken in it, so just foam, because we're going to poke some toothpicks into it. And I even tried to use an egg carton, and that sort of worked, and I'll explain that a little bit later. And then you might need a paper plate if you want to do a round string thing. And I also have an old foam cooler that I'm going to show you how to use just for fun. Okay, so you're going to need some scissors. Got to cut the string with scissors. So let's get started on String Thing. The first thing I'm going to show you is an egg carton, and this might be really good for if you're kind of on the young side and you don't want to poke all those toothpicks into your foam. So you need some toothpicks, and I got a bunch here. And String Thing is all about wrapping the yarn in different patterns, and it's going to show up really pretty and differently. My toothpicks won't open. There we go. Got my toothpicks open. Okay, so what I first started to do was stick toothpicks into the sections of my egg carton in a pattern, and I thought that was going to be great. Well, it ended up being too floppy. Oh, and they ended up going all the way through and disappearing inside my egg carton. So I thought, well, I need a new plan if I'm going to use String Thing and I'm going to wrap it in a pattern. And I thought, hey, how perfect. Instead of poking a bunch of toothpicks in, I'm going to wrap my yarn around the sections of the egg carton. And so if you're a little on the younger side and toothpicks aren't working for you, pick out, this part it would be for you. So I'm going to pick out some purple yarn, and I'm going to start wrapping my yarn in a pattern. Okay, so you could take the end of the yarn. It's always good to secure it so you can pull it tight. So I have some tape, and I am going to tape the end of my yarn on the back of my egg carton just for the beginning. So everybody see that? I got a tape. So now, how am I going to do this? So there is I think I'm going to do some lines. So I'm just going to wrap my yarn around and around, and around and around, and around. So I did a horizontal wrap. It's looking good. So I'm gonna, I could cut it right there and tape it down again, or I could keep on going, come around, and then do the long way. Look at that. So I'm going around and around and around. And now I think I am going to cut that particular color and tape it in the back. Whoops. So I've got a horizontal pattern and a vertical pattern, up and down and a side to side. So now I'm just going to, I cut my end and I taped it down so it'll stay. So that's the back side, but there's the front side. It's looking pretty good. So now I think it's time for me to use another color. So is there any other pattern that I could do? Could I go diagonal? What would happen? Let's find out. I'm going to take some gold yarn and tape that in the back so I can pull it good. So this is just kind of yarn wrapping whichever way you want to do it and whichever color you got. And it looks really pretty when you're done. Whoops, my tape decided to get stuck. So there we go. All right, so now I have a piece of tape. Yay. Okay, so I'm securing my gold yarn right at the top. So how am I gonna do diagonal? Maybe I could go like that. Well, it's a little bit harder because I only have, that works. So I did a cross from the first section. And now if I wrap it around the back, what else can I do? Can I go across and make an X? Yes, I can. Cool. All right, so I'm going to keep on doing that. I got a pattern now. I'm going to do an X across like that and an X across like that. There, that's looking pretty good. Now, where else can I do a diagonal X? Anywhere I see, there we go. Just have to make it go. So as I'm wrapping the yarn, I'm creating pattern lines. I've got diagonals, I've got verticals, I've got side to side, horizontal. And now let's see, what else can I do with this? Can I go around these sections? That, no, not very well. That's too hard, but I can cross my X's and go over here. Oh, I just did another side to side one. And anywhere I can go side to side, go 3 different directions and make X's and things like that. Whoa, very cool. So now I'm gonna cut my yarn and tape that one down. And I think I'm gonna do one more color on this one, and you can see what's happening. But this is kind of looking cool and crazy. I love this design. So I'm going to use a bright color. I'm going to use some red. And I am going to tape it down. Always taping it down on the back so it works. Where will I start on this? Up the middle. So you do this with any egg carton without the toothpicks. Here we go. I'm going to do right over the top. Ooh, that's pretty. And right over the top. And my piece of red is a little bit short, so maybe I'll just have time for one, or have enough string for 1 or 2 crisscrosses like that. Oh, and you can keep building on this. You could use a whole bunch of yarn and just keep wrapping and wrapping, whatever you like, and see how it turns out. And the string makes the color. All right, so that's a really easy project for the youngest crew. And there you have it. It's kind of cool. Egg carton foam, using egg carton foam. Okay, so then the next one, I happen to have a meat tray. And I'm going to change cameras so you can see what I'm doing with the toothpicks. And we're going to poke a whole bunch of toothpicks right into this meat tray, and then we're going to wrap some yarn around it. So let's change the camera to the tabletop and check it out. Here we go. All right, so there's my meat tray. Everybody can see that. All right, maybe it was better when I did that. Okay, there we go. Okay, meat tray. Perfect. So now I'm going to take a whole bunch of toothpicks, and I'm going to stick them in a pattern as well. Okay, and meat trays are a little bit thicker foam. They don't get all floppy like the other ones. So if I put them about the same distance apart, I can get about 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 across. And then I can go down the line, and I'm just doing it. You can just guess how far. It looks about right. All the way down, and line up those toothpicks, and I'm going to do it pretty quick. So there's my grid. Look at that. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 long. Okay, so now we're going to use that to wrap our string, all those poked up pieces of toothpicks. So one of the samples of string that I have is, they call it yarn that's variegated. That means that the color varies from purple to green to blue. So I don't have to change the yarn as far as the color goes, because it changes all the way by itself because of the way it's dyed. It starts with purple and it ends with green and blue. So I'm going to tape my variegated yarn underneath, just like that. Oh, and you can see where the toothpicks have come through. Okay, so then I'm going to start wrapping. Now again, I'm going to wrap in a pattern. So what should I do? You learn with the egg carton that you can go up and down and side to side and diagonal. And so I am going to do a little loop around each toothpick. Oops, can you see that? How I did that? A little loop around each toothpick so it'll stay where I put it. And I'm going to go across the top with a loop in each one. Whoops. Look at that. Now, where should I go next? Should I go down or should I go across? I think I'm going to go down around the edge. Pretty easy. All the way down and wrap. Whoops. And wrap. And wrap. And wrap. Ow! I'm getting poked by toothpicks. There we go. Whoops. I'm almost down the side. Almost down the side. And oh, that one's, I'm missing a toothpick here. I messed up my grid just a little bit. I'm missing a toothpick. There we go. So I need another one right there. That works. Okay, so where, I think I'm going to go down and make an X right across. So I'm going to go on a diagonal. I'm going to go from, can you see where I'm starting? Yeah, okay. And I'm going to the next row. And the next row. And the next row. Wow, am I going to make it to the corner? Yep, I am. I went around and around. So you can do a pattern, you can crisscross. Whoa. And so now, if you want to do it a little faster rather than wrapping around, you can just go around, back and forth, and just wrap when you want. Push it down, back and forth. Now see how I started out with purple and now I'm already on green and blue. So now I'm going to come down the middle and do some ones like that and just wrap what I want. Now I'm going to go down to the edge and do something with a square. I'm going to wrap this around the edge one, go over to the next one, and wrap, and then go to a square. And the string actually defines your shape when you wrap it from toothpick to toothpick. There we go. Whoops. All right, so there, I got a square. Can you see that? So now I think I'm going to cross my square and come around. And I'm pushing them down too so they can see. And then I'm over here and I'm going to cross my square again. There, now I have an X in my square and that looks kind of pretty. So I think I'm going to do that again. So I'm going over and I'm going to make another square. Going to that. Going around and completing my square and like that. So now I want to X in my square starting here, pushing it down, and then over the top, and the color keeps changing. Now I'm on green again. Oops, I missed my toothpick. Okay, there we go, and I made an X. So now I've got a really cool pattern going. You can invent any kind of pattern you want by choosing which toothpick you want to wrap your stuff around. And I got another X, like that. So that's looking really cool. So I've got some random patterns going on up here, which is cool. You could draw a shape with it, or you can do some geometric things like that. Easy breezy and kind of fun. And so then if you want a couple of different colors, you can start maybe tie on a different color and see what that looks like. And if you've got string, like kite string or anything like that, you can use that. So I'm just tying on a different color, and let's see what kind of effect I can get with this. Okay, so I'm gonna go there, there, and there, and this kind of project you can spend as much time as you want on it and fill up your toothpicks. Whoa, I bent a toothpick over. And I am going to go around and go across my toothpicks with some red because I like it, all the way over to here. And then I'm going to do a zigzag. And there we go. And you can keep on going with that whole thing. So, and that's just on a meat tray and some toothpicks and what I call a grid. You can invent your own pattern, or you can just do random back and forth designs. So, very cool. And you can, mine isn't finished yet. So, you can keep working on yours too. And you never know what you could probably even spell your own name, depending on how you wrap it up. I bet I could make an A for Anne. Yep. You could actually do all kinds of patterns. So now I'm going to show you one more cool pattern that you can work on. And I'm going to use my styrofoam cooler. Whoa, I'm going to lift my camera up just a little bit higher. So actually, you know, yeah, that'll work. Okay. Lifting my camera up a little higher. Okay, so I'm going to do a circle pattern now. This is just the bottom of a cooler that I had in my garage. And so I'm going to use my paper plate as a pattern. And I'm going to take my toothpicks and go all the way around in a circle. Oops, did you see that? There's my toothpick. And I'm putting the toothpicks pretty much spaced out evenly all around the paper plate. Check this out. This is going to be fun. I don't have a whole lot of grid of toothpicks to follow. I'm just going to have a circle, which is totally awesome. A circle. I wonder what kind of pattern I can get with a circle of toothpicks. We're going to find out. Okay. And a few more. And I've got my circle almost done. There's the circle. Whoop, two more. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. There. They're pretty evenly spaced all around my paper plate. So now I'm going to take out the plate really carefully. Ta-da! Can you see that circle? Well, let's take some yarn. I think I'm going to take some green yarn. And first of all, let's go around and make the circle so you can see it. Okay, so you tape it at the beginning and then do a loop around each toothpick. So that's what I'm going to do next, the loop around each toothpick. There we go. Loop number 1. Loop number 2. And I'm always going the same way around the toothpick, so it makes that loop. Whoa, this is crazy. I'm getting poked by toothpicks though. Can you start to see how the circle is starting to show up? Okay, whoops. There's the circle around and around. Uh-oh, I'm tangling it. There we go. Okay, and I'm pushing it down to the surface of the cooler too. There we go, around and around, and I'm almost coming around the other side of the circle. Whoa. And there we go. And around. I got just a few more toothpicks to do to complete. Oh, you can't see that. There we go. Complete the circle. One more. There, I'm back to the beginning. Cool, now I have a circle. Now, how am I going to, what pattern am I going to use? I think I'm going to go directly across, wrap it, and then maybe over to the next one, and wrap it. That might create extra. There was the one I started with. I went up directly across, then I wrapped it and I came back to this one. And what's directly across this one? This one right here. So that's what I'm going to do next. This one over, and then I'm going to go to the next one over, and the next one over to the side is here. Oh, look. I'm doing a pattern directly across from each toothpick. Just one over each time. Whoa, that's looking kind of cool. So let's do that. Come on, toothpick, stop poking me. Whoops, there we go. And each time I'm wrapping one directly across from the other. Back around, and back around, and back around. Oops, I messed that one up. Okay, and then back around. Oops. And back. Ooh, I'm coming around to my beginning again. Every time I move one over. Okay. And up to here. And down to there. And up to there. And I am back. Oops. I'm back to the beginning. And the one that is, oops. Okay. There, now I've got a really cool pattern going there just by wrapping one around each time. So every time you do that, you might take care to press it down to the surface of your foam because it'll pull your toothpick over if you don't. There we go. Okay, so there's my first color. I like it. I'm going to do one more color. I think I'm going to do red. And instead of a pattern, I'm going to go random. So I'm going to start on one side of my block. And then I'm just going to choose randomly which toothpick I want to wrap it around and see what I get. I'm going to go there. Maybe I can make a triangle. Oh, cool. I just made a triangle by 3 points. Oh, back to my first one. Oh, check it out. I made a triangle. Whoa! So now I think I'm going to maybe I can make a star. Let's see, how would I do that? Okay. Over there, you can kind of just play with it to see what you got. Well, that's kind of a funky star. Oh, a triangle inside a triangle would be a star. Whoops, my toothpick came out. Stay. Okay, so that would be here and over and over. I think I just like random. Check that out, it's looking good. And then if you've got some crazy string like I do, I've got some fuzzy string. I'm gonna put some of that on there and maybe do some reps to keep it going. And now I've got a cool pattern, and now I've got a fuzzy texture back and forth. Whoa, and it's looking really cool. And whatever you like to do with this, if you just have a short piece of string, you may start somewhere and it may only go across 1 or 2 times, and then you come to the end. But there you go. There's the pattern. So that's what we're doing today on string thing. And you can kind of invent your own shapes or your own patterns and have a great time with it and kind of complete it as you go. And if you get tired of wrapping string, leave it alone for a while and come back to it, because you can always think of something later to add to it that's really fun. So I'm coming back to the FaceTime camera. And there we go. And I hope you had some fun wrapping string and creating patterns and came up with a really cool string thing for yourself. Thanks for joining us on Kids Craft Lab. Something I had never ever seen before, and here's where you get to make a choice. Was it a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex? And I'm just gonna stick some pine cones in my box, and then the fun starts. I just start rolling them around. Air rushing out of the balloon is going to push that balloon up. So let's see what happens. All right, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. So that's how rockets kind of work. We are going to build 2 different kinds of rockets today.
Cork on his